Chris, what's your favorite amount of colors you like to run?
5.
You like to run 5?
I like 5 colors. I like Nagila. I like Sisay. I like Kenrith. 5 color, you just play all the best stuff. I think also with like 5 colors, you have to play these certain cards because you're in 5 color. You have to play Silence. Or in mono green, you don't have to.
No, I 100% agree. I think we should probably try to take a journey down some of the easiest and simplest multicolor spells.
Sure.
Both in EDH and CEDH, like we always have.
Yeah.
Let's try to pinpoint what we might consider to be a catch-all, depending on the colors that you're in.
Sure.
Or one that may just seem like it just feels like good in that multicolor.
Welcome back to the Turning Point Meta, where we discuss the decisions, techniques, and maneuvers of CEDH. I'm your host, Chris. With me, as always, Nate.
That's me.
Yes, absolutely. So glad that you're here. So glad that we are almost done with our series. We have really enjoyed it, but man, we are ready to move on to something else. Multicolor is a great opportunity for us to say, cool, this is going to be a great send-off.
100%.
Lots of cards, lots of capabilities. A couple here, a couple there. Just do things outside of their normal color pie, and they're insanely good. We're going to go over a couple different things. Being able to ramp and being able to remove stuff efficiently, multicolors are just phenomenal at that.
First up on the list, this time again, we have a nice list for us.
I love lists.
So we're gonna try to go by every single card that we have, because I'm not going to lie, multicolor is actually the biggest color winner.
the biggest pool of cards.
Because the amount of cards that actually met our criteria there's a lot.
I didn't even include all of them.
Yeah, they're not even all on here because there are so many to go through on the EDH side. This EDH side, it's going to be a little interesting. It's going to be a little weird.
We'll find out.
But we'll talk about it because we'll obviously want to pick out some of the ones that you probably, for sure we'll see. So, as always, first we're going to start with ramp.
Perfect.
Ramp is wonderful. Ramp is great. Even 5 color needs to ramp. Multicolor needs to ramp. It's fantastic. So, up on the list first, and I'm actually going to bring up 2. It is Ignoble Hierarch and Noble Hierarch. Both of these creatures are multicolor mana dorks. They do not make multiple colors on their own, but they can tap for one of 3 different colors.
Okay.
Ignoble Hierarch being red, black, and green.
Perfect.
And Noble Hierarch being green, blue, and white. Interestingly enough, Ignoble Hierarch works on the exact same statistics that we showed, where Ignoble Hierarch is the more played one because red and black are more played, and Noble Hierarch is the lesser played one because blue, white is less, and green are lesser played.
So we have 2 of the least played colors and one of the second highest. So that kind of makes sense where like Ignoble Hierarch sees more play because black, red, green. Green. It seems like in multicolor, green is the color that you ramp in.
Oh, yeah.
Even though they don't necessarily produce just green. The other one, for example, is Avacyn's Pilgrim, which is 1 green, similar to Ignoble Hierarch and Noble Hierarch, but it produces a white.
Yes.
It sees about 15% play.
So we'll go over the Exalted ability, because it actually is very important.
Sure.
So the Exalted ability is that whenever a creature that you control attacks alone, it gets a +1/+1 bump from the Ignoble and the Noble Hierarch. In CEDH, we see Ignoble and Noble Hierarch. Usually it's specifically 5 color lists.
Yeah.
Or 3 color lists that running these specific colors. Bant has a tough time winning. Jund is not even something that's played all that much, but if you're in a Jund list, you're probably going to run Ignoble Hierarch.
Sure, why wouldn't you?
But one of the main lists that you will actually see these 2 come up in are Sisay. Now, that's important because Sisay tutors based on her power.
Sure.
And that means when she swings alone, Exalted will trigger, and then she can tutor for higher mana cost things in the middle of combat.
That works perfectly.
So that's why you will see these. The other one that I want to bring up now, and again, this is a little out of order on our ramp list, but I feel like it falls into the same category as these other ones, is Deathrite Shaman.
Sure.
So Deathrite Shaman is a hybrid black and green.
Yes.
So you can play black or green, which is so nice.
Love it.
Love Deathrite Shaman. And Deathrite Shaman has 3 different abilities on them.
Do you remember all of them?
That is a good question. I'm going to find out right now.
Okay.
So the first ability, you can tap him, you exile a land from someone's graveyard.
Yes.
Could be your own. And you make a mana of any color.
Too easy.
So super easy, Rainbow Dork.
2 more to go. What do we got?
So now, this one gets a little tricky.
Yes.
I believe if you pay a green into him, tap him, you can exile a... I believe it's a non-land permanent in someone's graveyard.
Okay.
And then it deals 2 damage to everybody.
Okay.
And then I believe it's black, tap him, exile an instant or sorcery from a graveyard, and you gain 2 life. Now it's time for fact checking.
Let's see if you won a prize or not.
Probably not.
Let's see.
But I'm going to...
I think it's an instant or sorcery that deals the damage. But we do this live, okay? A lot of this is off of memory, so you are our fact checkers. Catch us, let us know that we are saying...
In real time, write in the comments and tell me I'm wrong.
Yes, the right colors.
I got the right colors of the effect, but with green, it's only exile a target creature card, and you gain 2 life. And then black does exile the instant or sorcery, but that's the one that makes everyone lose 2 life.
Which is what I thought it was. So
okay, so close enough.
With our minds combined, we might just get through a podcast unscathed.
Maybe. All right, so Deathrite Shaman, another great Rainbow Dork. But in the late game, it actually came up in a tournament one time where I was against 2 different Ad Nauseam decks, and I was on Corvold, and I was actually just like, every time he'd cast a tutor or something, I'd be like, cool, on your end step, pay a black, let's drain everyone for 2. Exile your instant or sorcery from
people aren't expecting it.
No, and I did that for a couple different turns, really lowering the life totals.
I think it doesn't see too much play because Sultai.
That's fair.
I think it's some of the decks that you've been talking about recently, I'm like, in my head, I'm already brewing. And I'm like, do you play this card? Do you play that card? Do you play this card? I'm already thinking about Sultai after the bans.
Sure.
Before, they weren't great.
No,
They
I would
weren't.
agree.
They weren't great. After the bans, I'm looking into them.
That's what I did.
I'm exploring. So your deck,
Ukima and Kazur?
yes, it's not nothing.
No.
It's not nothing.
That's why I looked into it, because I was like, this is really cool. Last up on the ramp is Growth Spiral. Growth Spiral, great card, green, blue. Draw a card, then you can play another land for turn. Any land you want. Legendary, non-legendary, doesn't matter. Just put a land in.
It's insanely good.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely good. It's one of those feels bads when you don't have a land in hand, and you're like, oh, maybe I'll draw it, and then, it sucks.
A cantrip for
2 mana? Yeah, it's a little rough, but I feel like you're in Simic, right? Sure. At least Simic when you're playing green-blue, right?
Yeah.
And that's something it's very good at doing, drawing cards and putting lands into play. Crazy.
Well, I mean, this actually seems really good for like EDH.
100%.
Because, once again, you have a lot of lands. You have less artifact ramp. I mean, you still have your Soul Ring.
Yeah, you still have them,
which
for sure.
should be banned, but we'll see. Exactly. So, Growth Spiral, definitely sees 22% of play in EDH, so it's pretty good.
It's a very, very good Simic card. I agree 100% with putting it in, and land ramp is hard to beat.
Yep.
So
very, very difficult.
All right. Okay, ramp is done. Out of the way of ramp.
Okay, we are never going back. We're never going back.
We're never talking about ramp on this channel ever again. I'm just kidding. I'm sure we probably will. Okay, so we probably will, regardless.
We will. We love ramp.
So next up, removal. Removal multicolor, actually very prominent. And I actually started thinking about this before we started filming the episode. And I was like, you know what? There are quite a bit of 2 different color like removal spells, or even higher.
Sure.
In the color spectrum. So first up on the list, Assassin's Trophy. Now, Assassin's Trophy, if I am not mistaken, green, black, instant speed, very important.
Very good.
Destroy target permanent an opponent controls. So this can hit a land.
You can hit a land.
Its controller may search for a library of a basic land, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. So they search for a basic, which obviously is going to be, not as good as probably the, Nykthos or whatever they had in the battlefield.
Sure.
But it does come into play untapped. That's important.
Sure.
So either way, Assassin's Trophy is awesome. I love Assassin's Trophy. I am surprised to see, and maybe it's because it's a mana cost thing, and in EDH games things go longer and they're bigger, heavy hitters on the board.
Sure.
But one of the pieces, again, we'll just kind of bring it up now, because like I said, the CEDH side of the multicolor is going to be a little strange. One of the pieces that we see that is also green and black and is also instant speed is Abrupt Decay.
It can only hit a 3 CMC permanent. It can't be countered.
Correct.
So,
and you get nothing.
That's quite interesting that we don't even see it on here. We know from watching Blue that you guys are degenerates. You love counterspells as much as CDH players. So why not Abrupt Decay? I think it really is because the 3 CMC restriction.
It's 3 CMC and lower. And I feel like in an EDH game, that's probably not going to hit very much. You know, or if it's going to hit something, it's not as impactful as something that's going to show up later.
Sure, hit your rock, hit your...
But, I mean, uncounterable, destroy a thing is pretty nice. But again, I can understand that in a longer game, higher CMC things, probably not going to see much play. So, just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay, the next 4 that we're going to talk about. Boros Charm, red, white, 25% seed play. Anguish Unmaking, standard all-star for sure, 25%.
I believe a colorless of white and a black.
Yes, perfect. Terminate, 21%, which is red and a black. Saw a lot of play in Modern back in the day.
Interesting.
And then we have D-Spark, which saw some standard play.
This one's just black and white, correct?
It is, yes.
Okay.
16% seed of play. So D-Spark, we'll start from the bottom and go up. So with this one, you can exile target permanent with mana value 4 or greater, which seems incredibly good for CDH.
100%.
Just like we were talking about, the 3 CMC or below.
Yep.
This one goes above, and it doesn't hit just a creature. A lot of the like removal spells hit like creatures for the most part when you really think about it. This one hits planeswalkers, which I think would see a little bit more play in EDH.
Yeah, 100%. I've noticed that with when we talked about like some removal pieces in like blue and removal pieces in red and things like that, right? They were very specific, like red, like Vandalblast. Right, it's going to hit an artifact, right? Green definitely had like its Beast Within, where it's like hit anything,
but that's about it,
right? But that was about all it had. And then like white had its Generous Gift that kind of hit anything. Same with Chaos Warp, but then that was it, right? That was kind of. I've already noticed a trend with multicolor, and removal is that we just talked about Assassin's Trophy.
Yeah,
destroy anything.
Perfect.
D-Spark. Exile target permanent, mana value of 4 or greater. Anything. Permanent.
Sure.
Obviously, it's not a land.
Sure.
But, again, anything.
Sure.
Boros Charm, that we're going to talk about here in a minute.
Sure.
I believe is modal, and it can hit different things.
It deals 4 damage to target player or planeswalker, which in CD... where EDH is fine, sure. Permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Cool. So your board wipes. Maybe not your
Toxic Deluge, but
no. And then target creature deals double strike damage until end of turn. Cool. Your commander swings in. No blocks. Cool. Commander damage.
Now you're dead.
Cool.
Right? So again, this one's not that it hits anything, but it has multiple uses, which is why it's very important.
So I see what you're getting at.
Multicolor thing. It does more than what a single color would do on its own.
Yeah, Path to Exile.
Right, it hit a creature.
Yes, this hits multiple things. So it seems the more colors you have in it, the more of the pie it does.
The more universal you are.
Sure. So red normally does give like that double strike, and it deals 4 damage, whereas like white
is protection, which Boros Charms offers you.
Perfect.
So then moving on to the other ones, Anguish Unmaking, again, another piece. It exiles a thing. Non-land permanent.
It's
multicolor.
It's now costs a little bit more than the other ones.
Yes.
Because the other ones were just 2 different pips. This is a colorless and a black and a white.
Right, but with D-Spark, there was a restriction, whereas this one, there isn't.
3 life? I have 40.
Oh, man, what a shame. I lightning bolt myself so I can get rid of your Rhystic Study. It's now exiled. Because we know you guys play Rhystic Study, too.
We know
we
it.
Saw it.
We did the research. We have the power to go into your guys' mind and pull out what you're going to be playing in your deck. So this one can not hit your lands, but it can hit everything else. It's insanely good. Like I said, it was a standard all-star when it was in the meta.
I believe it, 100%.
Yes, it is insanely good. Our last one that we're going to be going over is going to be Terminate. This one is...
This one throws me off as to why it sees so much play. Because I believe this one is one of the few that like doesn't do any more than just destroy a creature.
It can't be regenerated.
That's fair.
So you have what is it? Azuri mono green. You can you can regenerate. So I'm not saying it's heavily played, but I mean Else is pretty fun in EDH. It's instant speed. We're stumbling over ourselves because we just said these things do multiple things. And then this one just does... And that's probably why it's kind of like bottom of the barrel-ish, because it just destroys target creature.
Terminate is like kind of the one that just like seems like the odd man out.
Yeah.
And it sees 21% of play. It just destroys a creature and it can't be regenerated. Regenerated is not a keyword you see a lot anymore. There are things that you still see it.
Why not just exile it?
Right? But why not exile the creature? Why not something like that? But then you have something like Void Rend that sees a lot less play. I think it's like 5% less play, but it can't be countered and it destroys a non-land permanent. Again, another piece that's multiple colors, right? But it hits anything.
It has 3 different color pips.
That is true, and that does make it difficult to cast. Terminate just feels off as far as the other removal pieces go. But hey, you know what?
It's instant speed. It destroys a creature. From what I see on the top 20 decks of EDH is their commander is their engine. If you get rid of their engine, everything's good.
That's fair. So
what else am I going to hit?
Okay, so something like Terminate, I guess, that makes sense. So with removal, there are actually more cards that meet our criteria. And like we said at the beginning that's the case, but there's just so much removal in multicolor.
We could spend all day talking about multicolor removal in itself.
So we are going to continue to talk about multicolor removal, but we are going to talk about multicolor board wipes.
Ooh, and the first one is Ruinous Ultimatum. I don't know this one at all.
Oh, you don't know this one?
I don't know this one. I've never seen it played.
Okay.
The other 2, yes, but this one is seen 18% of play, and I have no idea what it does.
You're good. I do not remember the exact pips that this is, but it's like, no, red, red, black, black, white, 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 white.
It is Mardu. I'm pretty sure on that one.
It is a Mardu. It'll be up here. Check it out.
Cool.
But regardless, it is all pips.
Yes.
And specifically, Ruinous Ultimatum destroys all non-land permanents your opponents control.
Ooh.
It is a one-sided board wipe of everything on the board, which is why Ruinous Ultimatum is at 18% of play.
Well,
I used to run this in my Ishin list when I had it, because it was all a combat deck. But if I could run a board wipe that left me with all of my creatures that go to combat, and you all now have literally nothing but your lands, good luck.
That's pretty broken.
Ruinous Ultimatum is very strong.
That's pretty broken because it seems like, from my experience, that a lot of times in EDH, board wipes will get kind of stalled out.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, I have 10 guys, you have 10 guys. They're all 5/5s, they're all 8/8s, and they're slowly getting bigger and putting +1/+1 counters on them, maybe. So with this, it's like, cool, I'm going to kill someone right now if someone doesn't stop me.
Oh, 100%.
Cool, all your things are dead, and you've been pissing me off all night.
Hate to break this to you, but you ain't got nothing left.
Yep.
I'm going to have to take you out, Johnny.
Yep. I guess you're going to get the pizza because you're out of the game right now.
Good luck, you buying. But Ruinous Ultimatum, fantastic board wipe. And it is the Mardu one. I know that for a fact because I loved this in Ishin. It was such a good board wipe.
It's so good. The next one is... Damn.
Damn, that's good.
I actually got this card signed by the artist himself when I was...
Love that. That's awesome.
And he said, give me that damn card.
Of course he would. Oh, what a good guy.
I'm like, please sign this. Thank you.
Okay. Give that man an award.
He was very nice. I enjoyed him. I got a couple different things signed by him. So
nice.
Initially, this card looks like a spot removal piece.
Yeah.
Black, remove, destroy target creature.
Yep.
Or you can pay 2 white.
2 white.
2 white, and it's essentially a
Wrath of God.
Yeah.
In fact, it's exactly a Wrath of God. Wrath of God is 2 white. And if I'm wrong about that, don't put in the comments.
No, it's a Wrath of God. It's not necessarily a damnation, but it's fairly close.
Yeah, so what's interesting about Damn is that it is the equivalent of the Vandal Blast of creatures.
Ooh.
Because red, Vandal Blast, pay 1 red, destroy a target creature. Damn, 2 black, destroy a target creature. But if you do the overload, quote unquote,
yes,
destroy all creatures.
Including yours.
And
Ruinous Ultimatum's looking pretty good. I think this sees like a decent amount of play in CEDH. It did.
It doesn't really see too much play right now.
But I think it's still pretty good. I think with the board state getting like slowed down considerably, I definitely could see if Tivit came back a little bit. I know they played in blue form for a while.
And people are experimenting with green right now. So there's a lot more mana dorks. So I think Damn still could see quite a bit of play in CEDH as well.
Is it an instant speed?
It is not at a sorcery speed.
See, that's where it's kind of bad because, like,
100%.
Cool. Man, that feels bad. But it is a board wipe. I mean, why wouldn't you play a 2-mana Wrath of God, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt as much on, like, Adnaz.
Correct.
Cool. now I'm only paying 2 life opposed to actually getting
Yeah.
it'd be 4 otherwise. So seems pretty good. The last one on the list is actually kind of seeing, I believe, an uptick in play right now, and it is Supreme Verdict. 14% seen play in EDH. Supreme Verdict, I think, is kind of coming back around because of Shorikai.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I've been playing like Tameshi, and I think people are looking at these colors more now because they actually didn't feel like they got hit very much from the bans.
No, they didn't. They kind of struggle sometimes with like
winning. Yep.
So it's 1 white blue, not 2 white blue.
Yeah,
which is what you would think of. But I mean, 2 pips of white can sometimes be a little bit difficult sometimes.
Yeah, unless you're in Azorius,
sure,
then you could care less.
But this spell cannot be countered.
Yep.
Destroy all creatures. It seems pretty dang good.
Well, here's the thing: for people that are coming from EDH to CEDH, people might see something that says this spell can't be countered, and think that it's
going to happen.
That it's going to happen regardless. That's not necessarily the case. For instance, we talked about Abrupt Decay. Abrupt Decay can't be countered, destroys a target creature, or destroys a target permanent, mana value 3 or less, right?
Yes.
And it says, oh, you can't be countered. Haha, I got you, Chris. And you go, cool. Deflecting SWAT?
Sure.
I didn't counter it.
With a targeted. For this one, I would see like Mindbreak Trap. I think would probably get this one. Outside of that, I can't think of. That's
why this wipe specifically is very good, because you can't deflecting SWAT this. No. You can't misdirection this unless you're throwing out a Mindbreak Trap. And usually if someone's going to go a board wipe, it's usually going to be the first thing they cast.
Sure. About the only other way that you could probably counter this, if you will, is to be able to give all your stuff, phase all your stuff out.
Sure.
And that's in blue as well, which is
March of Swirling Mist.
March of Swirling Mist. So definitely, if this were to tick up, I would 100% be playing that in my creature-based combo deck because cool, exile a blue card, get a couple of my things, cool, they come back. Everyone else is destroyed, and guess what? I'm up. Thanks for playing that card. I really needed that thing to go through.
Sweet. Very hard to counter. Appreciate that.
Yeah. That's quite interesting. Once again, can't be countered. So in like EDH, like this is probably 100% going through.
This goes through in an EDH game. I'm almost positive of that.
Okay.
Which, I mean, when you have a board wipe that says, no, I'm going to destroy all the creatures, it's one of those things where you're just like, okay.
I would much rather take this than like getting farewelled, though.
Oh, 100%. At least I can recover from a Supreme Verdict. I can't recover from a farewell. We might as well start the game over.
Yes,
so.
ban that card. I don't like it. Never played it, but we'll see. With it can't be being countered, do we want to like jump down to the counter spells really quick?
Sure. Let's go ahead and just jump to counter spells. We had another one on the list right now. We're skipping it for now because we're in charge and that's what we do. So we're skipping that one. So we're going to move on to the counter spell. So this is the only one on the list. But again, it has a certain few keywords, and it is Dovin's Veto. Interestingly enough, in white and blue again.
Crazy. This
can't be countered. Counter target non-creature spell.
So it's a negate.
It is a negate.
It's a negate
that says you can't counter this back.
Okay. But it can be deflecting swatted.
Deflecting swatted.
Okay. Interesting. So there's ways to get around it.
100%.
There's ways to get around it, but it doesn't see too much play in EDH because that feels so bad. If you were to get into a counter war, boom, 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 Dovin's Veto, cool, I'm going to deflecting swat that to the original thing. Does anyone else have a deflecting swat?
No, just me. Oh, okay.
Wow, we just wasted a bunch of spells that we did not need to. Cool, that one's countered, goes to the next person's turn, they win the game?
Yeah.
Well, that was great. The thing happened anyway.
Yep. 100%.
So, or didn't happen anyways.
So, yeah, so there are definitely ways to get around uncounterability. So they are not just going to go off. Like I said, I think in probably EDH games, these are probably just happening.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, Deflecting SWAT was played on it in EDH. So there's obviously this. So in case you didn't know that, you can Deflecting SWAT a Dovin's Veto. There you go.
Yes.
But that's all we've got as far as the multicolor counterspells. There are more multicolored counterspells. There's like Permission Denied, which is another like white and blue one.
Sure.
But I believe it also silences and also counters a non-creature spell.
Yeah, that one's interesting.
We're going to go right on to enchantments. And this is actually kind of interesting because the first enchantment that is on our list also says something that is a keyword that we've been thinking about.
Crazy.
So this is Rhythm of the Wild. Rhythm of the Wild is 1 green and a red.
Yes.
Or red and a green, however the order goes. Don't be mad at me.
Choose the right order or else get mad at him in the comments. You didn't say it right.
Go for it. People freaking out about Captain America. So basically what Rhythm of the Wild says is your creature spells can't be countered.
Wow. It's like there's a theme, and I'm thinking about what
Yeah.
order we should go in.
Ain't that the craziest
production
thing?
value. You're welcome.
As if creatures weren't hard enough to counter.
Correct.
Now they really can't be countered.
This is a great one.
Non-token creatures you control have Riot. So you have a choice when a creature enters. Either A, they get a +1/+1 counter,
Great.
or B, they have haste. Wow.
Also great.
What does green and red do really good, Chris?
Plays really big, huge dudes that don't have haste, but now they do because of
And-
Riot.
Yep. Or they are a red creature and they already have haste. You're like, cool, now it's bigger. Whee!
That's great. Man, like a Tali?
Yeah, exactly.
That would be really great.
So this is a fantastic enchantment. The fact that it's an enchantment is also key, right?
Hard to counter.
Because the enchantment is hard to counter itself. And then once it's on the board, again, we've talked about this in previous episodes. How the hell do you get rid of this thing? you ruin its ultimatum. Aha! Nailed it.
Can't despark it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you anguished on making it. I don't know. There's ways to get rid of it, obviously, but again, fantastic piece. Creatures are uncounterable, so it makes them basically they're gonna happen no matter what you do.
The next one, I know Jeskai Ascendancy pretty good, but Teamer Ascendancy sees 15% of play.
Yeah, I'm not 100% on Teamer Ascendancy either.
Creatures you control have haste.
That's okay. Perfect.
Okay, cool. Nothing else. Next card. No, there's more to it. Whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. Cool.
Love it.
So it's a Rhystic Study. No, it's not a Rhystic Study.
It's like a Beast Whisperer enchantment
With haste.
that gives your creatures haste.
That's pretty good. So you're playing your 4/4s, right? Power
Yeah.
with 4, right? Cool. They enter, you draw a card, similar to like Tameo.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Similar to Tameo, but now they have haste. Cool.
Which-
I draw a card, and they hit.
Yeah, 100%. Which, interestingly enough, because of the way that Rhythm of the Wild is worded, because it would enter with a +1/+1 counter on it,
Yes.
it counts as it enters with the +1/+1 counter on it.
Cool. It resolves. Cool. They have the +1/+1. So you could play a 3/3, if you will. So, I mean, these seem pretty good in tandem.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I'd run the both of them just because then you don't even have to pick the one with haste with Rhythm of the Wild. You're like, cool, no, I'll put a +1/+1 counter on it. Oh, look at that. My 3/3 is a 4/4. I'm going to draw a card.
Sure.
Is that cool?
And it's fantastic. Cool. I don't have enough pips. I'm going to play Rhythm of the Wild to get out early enough, and then I'm going to play Ascendancy later, and they just kind of, and you want blue. Blue's super good.
Oh, of course.
I mean, why would you not? So, okay. I see where you guys are getting at.
I like it.
Teamer Ascendancy.
On the CEDH side of things, when it comes to multicolor spells, weirdly enough, we don't, unless you're in a specific deck, you're not really running a ton of multicolor spells.
Not really.
You will see them. They will come up.
They do good things.
And they do absolutely good things. Like, again, we talked about it, Abrupt Decay, right?
Perfect.
Anytime I'm in green and black, I'm playing Abrupt Decay. Every time. Right?
Well, can't be countered.
Right, exactly. Something like Calling the Ritual if I'm in green and black. I'm playing it every time.
Yes.
Right? Because it just adds so much mana. So as we get into this, we'll try to keep it as streamlined as possible. We'll try to help you guys as much as we can, but it's kind of a weird one to keep track of.
Most of the multicolor spells that you see in EDH are heavily in one deck specifically.
That is very true.
Which is Sisay. So a lot of our data that we've pulled so far is like, cool, that's in Sisay, that's in Sisay, that's in Sisay, that's also in Sisay. Whereas we want to get like a broad brush. What are you guys more than likely going to see? And the first one is Mnemonic Betrayal. This is a win condition backup. You want to go over what it does?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Why we play it?
So Mnemonic Betrayal is 1 black and a blue. You exile all opponents' graveyards,
Yes.
and you may cast those spells that are in exile this turn.
Yes.
And then you exile Mnemonic Betrayal.
Yes.
So essentially what you're doing is, let's say, Chris, you went for a Thassa's Oracle when in a tournament we played.
That's crazy. You were my best friend in that tournament, and you betrayed me. Mnemonic betrayal.
And
I'll never forgive you.
And I decided to Born Upon a Wind into a mnemonic betrayal and stole your win out from underneath you.
I had it.
You absolutely did.
You stole it, and it was one of the best things that I've ever seen.
I loved that win so much.
And I've never seen this card perform ever again.
That's very true.
I've seen it steal my top 16 from me, but whatever. It's all good. Nate didn't get there either.
I did not.
He could have given it to me, but whatever. No big deal. I think I was playing Blue Farm.
You were playing Blue Farm at the time, and I was playing Roxai.
Yes, which was super good. Normally, what you'll do when you're running Mnemonic Betrayal or you have in your hand, like, cool, I just am going to go grab as many counter spells as I humanly can and let someone try to go off, and then when it gets to my turn, cool, I'm going to try to do the exact same thing that you just did.
Yeah, 100%. Mnemonic Betrayal can be used in so many different ways that it's just very interesting. Like I said, in some cases, like obviously the one that we just talked about, where I Born Upon a Wind into a Mnemonic Betrayal.
Stole my own combo.
I took the combo from the graveyard at instant speed.
Yes, which is crazy.
Which was super fun. But, like you said, sometimes you just Mnemonic Betrayal because you're like, cool, there's a Fierce in your graveyard. There's a Pact of Negation in your graveyard. There's that in your graveyard. So now you have all of their counterspells and maybe even their silences under your control. Not only can it be used as an offensive piece, but it can be used as I'm going to take all your graveyards and use all of the defense that you just had.
Oh, perfect.
So I'll exile your graveyard.
To secure your own win.
And I'll cast your silence.
Nice.
It's like, I'm in Grixis, but I just cast a silence. Like, oh, okay, good luck.
And this one sees so much play. I like it, and sometimes I'll take it out and put it back in. It sees about 51% of play in CEDH, which is pretty,
which is high,
pretty prominent.
The main reason that Mnemonic Betrayal goes back and forth for a lot of us as players is if you don't cast a lot or all your stuff is permanent based, guess what I get from you when I cast a Mnemonic Betrayal?
Not much.
Not a damn thing.
Sure. You have a bunch of lands.
It's like, okay, cool. I can't play lands through a Mnemonic Betrayal.
Not really, no.
So what? So you just sit there with it in your hand and you're like, maybe if someone goes for it.
Pitch to force?
Yeah, sure.
Pitch force of will.
So put it under a chrome box so you have black and blue.
Sure. I like it, but I also, once again, it seems like a backup win line.
Yes.
Cool. I have nothing else. I know there's one card in my library that can get me back into the game and win, and that kind of is what it feels like.
Right.
It's a backup that can be pitched to force of will.
Sure.
So take it or leave it. You could put it in. You could take it out. It's one of those catch-alls of in case pull in case of emergency.
Yeah, that's kind of how it feels. That's a good way of putting it for sure. So next up on the list is Lotho, Corrupt Sheriff, not Sheriff.
Sheriff.
Sheriff. So Lotho is black and a white and a black.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, you lose a life and you make a treasure token.
It's a 2/1, isn't it?
It is a 2/1, so it dies to Bowmaster, which is a little sad.
Yeah, but I don't see too many people actually hit it with Bowmasters that often.
Surprisingly enough, no, not really. But Lotho is very good because it is a creature-based mana engine, which is kind of nice.
So it's like ramp.
Yeah, it is sort of like a ramp piece.
Not in green. In white,
yeah.
Definitely see where people wouldn't want to play it because it is a 2/1.
Sure, it's a 2/1, and then also if you care about your life total, this thing can actually start smacking the crap out of you pretty quick.
Sure.
For instance, I play this in Zur, and I play it alongside things like Delny. So it triggers twice, right? So every time you do it, I make 2 treasures, which is awesome. The flip side of that is I die.
Sure, sure.
So it has its ups and its downs. I think if you don't care too much about your life total and you're just kind of trying to make the treasure, like for instance, we talked about most of these cards are in Sisay. This is not only a 2-power bump for Sisay, but it's also a mana generation that can be used to activate Sisay. So very, very good. Very, very good piece in a deck like that.
Seems really good.
Yeah, 100%. I love Lotho. I think Lotho is good.
The next one on our list is considerably less. So those two are like the top
dogs.
Top dogs.
Right up
the
there.
next one is Teferi Time Raveler. This is the Planeswalker, 1 white, blue. So its static abilities, each opponent can cast spells only any time that they cast a sorcery.
Okay.
This can be good and bad. The +1 ability is until your next turn, you may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. So
cool.
Wrath of God.
Sure.
Great.
Love it.
Love it. The -3 is return target artifact, creature, enchantment to its owner's hand. Draw a card. Really great. Cool. Someone has a piece that's stopping you, bounce it. Or Displacer Kitten.
Right.
This is a great one with a Displacer Kitten. Cool. Play your 1-drop.
Like a Soul Ring.
Sure. It'll flicker to fairy. You -3. You'll return Soul Ring back to your hand after you tapped it for mana,
Yeah,
obviously.
use the mana.
Cool. Draw a card. Cool. Play Soul Ring again. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Cool. Draw your entire deck. You'll have enough mana, hopefully somewhere in there, more than likely, yes. To then be able to Thassa's Oracle.
Because with Teferi in play, there's very little people can do to interact with you.
Yes. This is reminiscent of Dosen.
Yes.
Very reminiscent of Dosen.
So the reason we specifically say that it's like Dosen is that if you pass turn with this Teferi in play, you are the only person that can interact. You're it. So if you can't stop him, and then them, you're screwed.
Yes.
Because everyone else is locked under this Teferi.
I can only have 7 cards, and I cannot interact with everyone trying to go for a win. If you play this thing, you -3. It starts with 4 loyalty.
Yep.
It doesn't die.
No.
It doesn't die. You got to plus it, and then minus it again. So, like, you could be going multiple turns where, like, you're the only one doing anything.
Which, for the Sisay pilots out there, I hope to not give all your secrets away. But if a Sisay knows that they have a win on their turn, typically they will end step a Teferi. Which is 100% correct play.
Correct.
Do not misunderstand me.
Well, it's that or Cutsil.
But yeah, that or Cutsil, which is also kind of a silence effect. Because as soon as it's in play, everyone is restricted to that sorcery speed. Cool. All your opponents.
Untap, upkeep, draw, win the game.
Yeah, so one of the ones that I think that we should talk about, because we've brought him up on the channel quite a bit, and he actually is next up on the list. But there's a reason I want to bring him up, and it's Kinnan. The reason that Kinnan sees so much, because the thing is people see Kinnan and you're like, oh, you run him as the commander. Kinnan is run in pretty much anything that also runs green and blue. So, like, for instance, Rog Thrasios.
That's a good one.
Right?
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
It wants to make infinite mana, so it just runs Kinnan and Basalt in the 99.
TNT's been playing it a lot.
Or the 98.
TNT's been playing it a lot as well, because, cool, now my mana dorks make a lot more.
Right, my mana dorks make more, my Soul Ring taps for 3.
Yes.
So he's just such a powerful piece on his own.
Yes.
And he's so cheap mana-wise. Like, even Sisay runs Kinnan.
Yes.
Because it goes for, like, Dahada loops with treasures and such.
Sure.
So there's just, he's just such a powerful card on his own that he makes it in the 99 of a lot of decks.
Yes.
So you will see Kinnan, whether he's in the command zone or not, you'll probably see a Kinnan at some point.
Kinnan's doing pretty good. It sees in CEDH about 21% play in EDH decks. Once again, heavily on the Sisay side.
Yeah, but you will see him on his own.
Green, blue, red,
and,
X. Yeah, super good. Some interesting honorable mentions that aren't seeing too much play, but I think they're definitely on an uptick in general.
Sure.
One of them would be Tinderwall. Green, red right now, like you were saying, green, red, blue is definitely seeing a lot of play. Being able to get multiple red in order to play whatever is definitely, I think it's going to see an uptick. It's doesn't die to Bowmasters.
It's got a big butt.
It's got more than 1 toughness, where most dorks only have 1 toughness.
It's got some junk in the trunk. That was horrible, but it's fine. We're going to leave it in. But yeah, so it'll be up here.
We'll see. So that one was really good. Definitely, I like seeing that played in Malcolm Tana.
Sure.
I think that's insanely good. Getting to 5 mana after you get out your Malcolm is exactly what you need. Cool. I played this last turn. Now I'm playing this. I need 5 mana to be able to play my Glinthorn Buccaneer plus 2 to activate, and now I'm going off.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're playing speed decks that have green in it, this sacrifices for a Final Fortune.
Ooh.
Right? So another interesting little piece of tech for it.
And it doesn't need a tap.
Nope. You just pop it.
Cool. 1 green, get an additional 1. That feels like a ritual of some sort.
Yeah, it is. It's like a Rite of Flame mana dork, which is really cool. And because it just sits there and you can use it at any time.
Cool. Don't need to use it this turn. I'll go off next turn.
You're like, I'll just wait. Let's bide my time.
The next one that I definitely seeing more play is Culling Ritual. We always mess this up between Culling the Weak and Culling Ritual, but we know our stuff now. Finally, we've been through 9 different episodes of colors, and we finally understand the ritual for Culling is seen only about 6%
Not a ton, but I think it could see an uptick.
I think it is because with the bans, you have so much more availability. Najila used to play this considerably.
Oh, yeah.
But now really it's like TNT.
Which still great deck to play it
It's
in.
pretty insane. Cool. Get rid of all of my stuff, play out my Thrasios, use all that mana, and make something happen.
Yeah, which the thing is when people are taking those like first 2 turns to deploy out their stuff, and then you take 1 turn off to be like, cool, get rid of all of your stuff and put myself ahead.
Yes.
Whether it's A, just doing some value stuff, or B, you're like, calling ritual, and then, I don't know, ad nauseum, because you guys have no mana now.
That's really nice.
It's like, oh, well, okay, go for it, I guess.
It's a board wipe that gets you ahead.
Yes.
And it hits so much stuff.
Oh, gosh, does
in
it ever.
CEDH. And that's where it's like a farewell.
A little bit.
It doesn't exile, but it really hits so many things.
We don't play very high CMC things unless we're cheating them into play, but that takes some time.
And even if we all were probably winning,
Typically.
Citadel, like,
Yeah.
cool, we're probably going to try to win.
Oh, yeah.
Villas, we're probably going to try to win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 3 CMC, outside like stacks, and if stacks do come back, I could definitely see this scene more play
Yeah.
because Cole and Ritual, a lot of your stacks are like 3 CMC.
Yep.
Like, when you think about it, pretty insane. Hits all your own mana dorks because you're running green-black, you're probably running
Right,
mana
but you're
dork.
getting the mana back out of it. 'Cause You're
Exactly.
destroying your own things.
So, like you said before, putting that into like an Adnos and then going off from there. Cool. Adnos for 5. I still have 10 more mana. Let's play everything out. Let's go for
Oh,
it.
man, what a shame.
Cool. Play out on my 2 rocks past turn. Everyone, cool. I'm probably going to win at that point in time the following turn or maybe even that turn. Calling Ritual is insanely good, and I'm definitely positive it's going to see a huge uptick in our meta.
I would agree with that 100%. I don't know how many more that we're really wanting to chat about. I think for the most part, maybe we throw out the unmentionable ones here. Because like I said, you're not going to see the most when it comes to multicolor spells. They're actually kind of, like we've talked about, they're kind of in one deck.
Yes.
You will see some multicolor ones. So Chris, do you have an honorable mention that you just want to throw out here?
Yes, Limdol's Vault. It is not seen.
one.
It's hearing a little bit of clatter right now. The biggest thing with it is it's another way to tutor. So Limdol's Vault, it's a blue and a black, right? So it's essentially another tutor, right?
Yeah.
You look at the top 5 cards of your library, and if you don't like them, you can put them on the bottom and repeat the process. When you do, you lose a life.
Oh man, what a shame. I have 40.
Okay, cool. So I can look at, let's see, I am starting at 40 life, 40 times 5. I'm looking at the majority of my deck.
I'm looking at everything.
Exactly. So I'm going to find that one piece that I need. The one reason why I think the huge uptick, the games are slowing down.
Agreed.
And with that, opposition agent is going to see a lot more play.
Also agreed.
So Limdol's Vault gets around that.
It certainly does.
In the past, it felt a little bit bad because I think the tempo was quick. I gotta win.
Mm-hmm.
And taking life in like, okay, the thing is you can organize them in the order that you want to draw them next.
Once you find the 5 that you want, you order them however you'd like.
Cool. So the top one, I'll put the card I want, and below that, I'll put a fetch land, and then the other cards, I don't care.
Exactly. Who cares? You
Cool.
got the one card that you were after.
Draw my card. Cool. Play my fetch land. Get everything back. Win the game.
Oh man,
Or
that sounds like it's good.
or you can set it for like an Adnos. Like, cool, put Adnos on top, and I know the next cards that are not going to kill me. Land.
I completely agree with you. I think Limdol's Fault can be explored a bit more now, and being able to just like end step this to find that card you need, whether it's I need to find my Supreme Verdict, or
Perfect.
I need to find my Toxic Deluge,
Yeah.
or whatever. It doesn't matter. Whatever you need.
Paying 5 life to find the one card you need 25 cards deep.
Who cares?
Seems very reasonable.
Oh, absolutely.
Seems very reasonable. Cool. I definitely want to see more play. I'm definitely considering putting it into a couple different decks because it's an instant speed tutor.
Only things that really get around Opposition Agent are this and Praetor's Grasp.
Sure.
Because you're not searching your own library, right?
Oh man, Praetor's Grass. If that was multicolor,
That would be sick. But
it would be sick.
to
But
be fair, it's great on its own.
I
so.
think that might see more play, but we're already past that color. We can't talk about mono
Sorry,
colors anymore.
my bad.
Sorry, guys.
I didn't mean to bring up black.
we
Best color in Magic.
yes.
but-
We would say that. Is there any single
There,
Honorable mention for you.
yes, there is. Because this is one that I also feel like could see a little bit more play. And there's actually a line of text on it that almost always gets forgotten. But this is Neoform.
Ooh.
So Neoform is green and a blue. As an additional cost to cast it, you have to sacrifice a creature.
Okay.
So this is sort of like an Eldritch Evolution in multicolor, but it only gets 1 mana value more.
So Birthing Pod.
Right. Well, so one of the decks that's I think should come back is Dawnwaker Thrasios.
Sure.
So, for instance, if you have a Bruise and you Neoform him, what can you get for 5 mana that's good in a Thrasios deck, Chris?
Seaboard Muse.
Oh wow, it's great. It's like Seedborn Muse is a good card.
Why are people not playing Bruce Thras?
I'm very curious.
I think,
Or maybe you could get away with a Kiri Thras, but then Neoform kind of goes down. But
are the win conditions just not crazy? Because you basically just
you do have to do some weird lines.
Okay.
Like one of the lines that I know for a fact they go for is they do Eternal Witness Lightning Bolt loops. I think one of the main reasons why I like Thrasios and Bruise is it in a way it sort of feels like Rog Thras,
sure,
right? Because it can just make a ton of mana,
but it has silence effects.
But it has silence effects, and you have even more ways to make infinite mana than something like Rog Thras because you also have the addition of Zerta. So like
Sure.
Zerta Basalt, Zerta Grim Monolith, Forensic Gadgeteer.
Boom.
So that's what I mean. So I think, well, I'm off on a tangent, but it's fine.
No, it's okay.
But I think overall, Neoform is just another good piece that can get that one extra thing you need.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
I've even considered running it in Ukima and Kazur to get like my Eternal Scourge or
Sure.
my Mist Hollow Griffin. But the part that I wanted to bring up that I still didn't even say
Sure.
is that if you Neoform a creature this way, if you Neoform a creature and it resolves, it enters and then it has a +1/+1 counter on it.
Yeah. Everyone forgets that.
No one ever remembers that part.
It's the same thing with Eldritch Evolution.
How
Like,
it exiles.
Are like, I don't remember that at all. It's like, cool, go get my thing. After that, I win the game.
Listen.
Why are we even worried about text on a card?
Listen, Magic is a complicated game.
Yes.
Don't ask me to remember everything.
No, and you really can't. And a lot of times, I think I was talking about it either in an episode on midweek or with you, where we come up with different lines to remember things. I think it was Mono Black, where we're talking about Wishclaw Talisman. It's not sorcery speed, it's on your turn.
It's just instant speed, but on your turn.
Only on your turn. So sometimes we come up with different ways to like make things easier in our head.
Yes.
Go do this, get this. Cool, done. Everything else doesn't matter. It does.
Absolutely.
It does. That +1/+1 could make a difference. In CEDH, that could really be the difference between winning and losing. I definitely like that card, and it sees play in Tropical Malcolm.
Which is, I think, another great piece. Because all you need is a 2 mana, a 2-drop, which is, I mean, throw me a 2-drop that they play.
Kinnan?
Sure. See?
Magda?
Hey, look at that. Kinnan showing up again. Crazy.
You can see play. That deck, like, you can put so many different...
I mean, there's tons of different
The problem with the deck is you can put so many different ways to win. Teamer right now feels really, 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 really good.
Really dense on his win conditions.
Yes, it is. And there's so many different ways that you can win with it. There's like, how does... he has a Magda. Does that mean he has a Niv-Mizzet? Probably.
Maybe.
But... sometimes you don't want to do that. Sometimes you want to do a Kiki line. Sometimes you don't want to do a Kiki line. You just want to go with a clean glint horn, counters everything else, goes long as possible. But yeah, I think that's the majority of the ones that we really want to discuss.
Yeah, there's just not a ton on our side. There's specific decks that play specific multicolor cards that fit well with their theme.
Correct, but you won't see them. They won't be ever.
They're not universal.
So really, multicolor spells are more of an EDH thing because you want that mobility.
Yes.
Whereas in CEDH, most of our cards do exactly what they want them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Counter, kill, win, tutor.
To find the thing that does any of those things.
Yes. So being modal might not be as great in CEDH.
Yeah, I think that's maybe the main kind of takeaway from this is our multicolors, if we are running them, they just need to be streamlined.
Yes.
Just kind of get to the point. Like Abrupt Decay, Assassin's Trophy, get to the point.
Whatever it's
Destroy
doing,
the thing.
it's going to be the best of that.
And exactly.
Whereas modal gives you
is
options.
good. Like, don't get me wrong, it is very good to have modal options on a card. It's just, a lot of the modal things are like high mana cost, or the modal thing is just not exactly like, for instance, like Boros Charm for us, dealing
Double
4 damage
strike
to a thing,
to a player or a planeswalker. It doesn't even do it to a thing.
Yeah, it's like that's.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Right. Like if it did it to a creature, like if it said red white just do full damage to any target,
Sure.
Maybe I'd run Boros Charm. That's not the worst thing in the world.
Definitely some spell or some commanders I could definitely see.
Yeah.
Double strike.
So
Okay.
but it's just weird to find this interesting. I'm trying to find the right word. This interesting like dichotomy that we love modal cards, but it seems like in multicolor it just doesn't feel the same way.
Yes.
But I think the other part of it is the restrictive mana costs when it comes to multicolor cards as well.
Sure.
Because, right, 1 and a blue for, I don't know,
Counters.
a delay
Sure.
is much easier than a white and a blue for a Dovin's Veto.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It feels good, but
then it restricts my colors, and now I can't hold up my silence.
especially if,
you know what I
if
mean?
I'm in 5 colors, like I can't get all the colors sometimes, and I
You're like, oh, everything in my hand is green and white, but I have this counter spell. So what do I go get?
I put it back.
Yeah,
I put it back because I don't have the right colors. This is just going to be a dead card in my hand, and really reducing that possibility. Having a white pip, even sometimes in CEDH, can be a little bit detrimental.
Restrictive. It's
cool.
restrictive.
I have a white, I have a blue, I have a green, I have a black. It's like I am not going to be able to color fix enough.
Exactly.
So,
which is, I think, one of the main reasons, at least off the top of my head, that I can think of why multicolor cards are just rough.
Yes.
Because it's difficult. Like,
we want to reduce our pips as much as possible.
100%.
And do the thing that it does. Cool. Swords to Plowshare.
1 white, do the thing.
Does the thing.
Not red and black, terminate your thing. A little rough.
Yes.
A little rough. I can't hold up my vampiric tutor now because I had to do that.
Well, yeah.
I couldn't lightning bolt it or rending volley it or something like that. So
yep. I definitely think that's one reason why CEDH sees a little bit less play of multicolors, and whereas EDH sees a lot more multicolors because of the modality.
I think we've done it. I think we have wrapped up.
We have arrived.
We have arrived at the end of the color spectrum.
It's been a wild ride.
It has been a wild ride. It has been very interesting to see the amount of play that some of these cards that I just would have never even thought of.
Well, it's been a wild ride with our viewers as well. We thought, man, no one's gonna like lands. Lands was probably one of the most difficult ones to do.
That was rough,
and it did really well. And then next week we came back, cool, colorless spells. We sent it out. You guys really enjoyed it. I'm so glad that we were able to give you guys the information,
Yes.
I enjoyed all of it. Red did insanely good. We really appreciate like everyone coming out and like watching and commenting and liking. It really, really does help. We'll probably start a new series here soon enough, and I'm really excited to go over a couple things.
No.
We're gonna hold off.
Okay.
I'm excited, and I'm gonna hold that excitement in to really give you guys a great product moving forward.
Love it.
We are going to go over more statistics. We're going to go over more fun plays, and we are going to give the information that we think is going to help out the new players go from EDH to CEDH. We are the Turning Point Meta. We appreciate you guys coming out. Be sure to like and subscribe down below. Let us know what you guys want to see, what you guys want to talk about, what you want to tell your new friends starting the game.
And most importantly, what do you want to learn? We'll teach. We're here for you.
Absolutely. We are the Turning Point Meta, and we will catch you next week.
Stay frosty. It's staying in.
Oh, that's so staying in.
I couldn't think of something, so it's stay frosty.